Start over. Welcome, dudes and dudettes, to the Limelight Podcast. Kyler from Bloodbather is here, the new vocalist. What's up, my dude?
What's up?
We had some. We're getting like bombarded. If you can't see him and you hear him, he's getting bombarded by his mic.
What you got there, bud? What's that little toy you have there?
It's a what the fuck is this? This is definitely a this is a Samsung CO1 studio condenser.
That's good stuff, bro.
With a pop filter. It cost me $10.
That's called being cultured.
I'm trying, dude. All right.
Brings me back to the days of when like my vocalists in the band would like record their vocals in a closet to get.
That's
like
the way to go.
It's the only way to go, honestly.
Yeah. It sounds the best. I recorded all the silence vocals in a closet.
Really?
Yeah.
You have to. You have to.
Yeah.
My boy Ben from Strawberry Girls, we did a podcast and he was in his closet for it. And he did the same thing you were doing, where you had like this glorious mushroom trip of a background.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm getting in touch with my traumas, and I'm figuring out all the problems in my life, and now I'm perfect.
It's like COVID for self-centering. That's what it is, you know.
It is, absolutely. The ego is gone. It's removed. It's completely removed.
Well, first off, I mean, we already told you before, but congrats on on all the success so far and everything that's been picking up for you guys. The new EP's The new EP is killer. Me and George were talking about before we had you come in. So just congrats on all that, all the hard work.
I appreciate it. It was quite the journey. I just might as well say this, even though it might get asked, but I'm gonna just go ahead. Is because we had an old vocalist and I took over the duties and I had to re-record all the vocals that were already recorded, mixed, mastered, and everything. And that took like another 6 months to do, and everyone was pissed at us. So
what's that feeling like, going into a session like that and knowing that you are replacing somebody with potentially a different vision and a different way of like going about the writing process? What's your mentality going into that?
Oh, it's fucking terrible. It is awful because you are always the second dude, you know, like 100%. Like there's some people that got lucky that, like, you know, a lot of bands didn't have a claim to the fame yet and they had their better vocal, like Dillinger Escape Plan made it through. Fucking I'm sure there's Ion Dissonance, like a bunch of crazy bands that like had a second vocalist but got that pass because, you know, they weren't anything that big yet. But apparently we were already picking up because people, for God, commenting on my own Instagram being like, "Where's Jeff?" And I'm like, like, dude, go to the band, go to the band's fucking Insta page. Like, now you're just attacking me. It was like, they're like, "He was like, this sucks. Like, where's Jeff?" And I'm like, dude, go fuck yourself.
Well, let's just say they're absolutely freaking wrong about that shit. You did a great job with everything that you did.
Appreciate it. I mean, the reason I'd like to think so. I tried, you know, but
at least you tried, right?
I tried, but people are like, "Yo, this guy fucking sucks." Blah blah blah. Like, where's the black guy? And I'm like, dude, come on. Like, and they're like, that is so crazy to say. And I was like,
that's like a little ignorant. But at the same time, like, I mean, it's just people that have other opinions, and like everybody has them. So fuck it, dude. Like, I mean, there's so many bands that have even had successful vocalists coming into, like, perfect example, like the producer that you guys went to, who recorded Dance Gavin Dance. You know, Johnny Craig was in the band, got booted, and then you got Tillian in here. Bro, and then, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because they had a bunch. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm a firm believer in, like, you could do anything, and if you just do it long enough, it's bound to, like, bear fruit. But there's obvious that, like, middle downslope, terrible, like, shitstorm that makes you want to quit. But I think if you just keep writing it out, it's, you know, I think the algorithm kind of just dictates that it's going to be fine in the end.
Absolutely. Screenshot those comments, and then when you guys release more music in the future, you're going to see them re-comment and be like, "Wow, this is amazing." You'll be like, "You fuckers."
It's like, you guys are so, like, such dickheads. Like, they're like, this guy sucks. I'm like, dude, oh my God, like, fine.
That's the like, worst. That's the worst part about social media, though. It's like you have microcosms of opinions, but I mean, for you, that's a high pressure situation. Obviously, you're going to be really critical of yourself. You know that people are going to be critical of you. Right. Unfortunately, even if you get 1,000 great comments and 1,000 great accolades saying how great of a job you did, you're always going to put emphasis on the one that says you suck.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, we all know it. I mean, people just like to stir the pot. They like to hate. They like to bait people into those situations.
I agree.
it's a shame.
It is. So, like when Chester Bennington, when they were releasing albums with Linkin Park, like his personal Instagram was filled with hate, dude, and it fucking tore my heart out. I was like, can you just shut the fuck up? If you don't like the music, you don't say anything. I don't know why, that concept has to be put in your head. Like, you know how I really feel. It's like, also they're doing it for themselves. Like,
Exactly.
What do you mean? And there's gonna be other people along the line that are actually gonna thoroughly enjoy it. And those are the people I'd rather have. That if I was like playing original music for sure. Mm-hmm.
I think social media is like the worst fucking plague on humanity. So like, it is upsetting. Like not even me. Like I know I can handle it, but like when I see like just anybody getting attacked, even like fucking famous ass people, I'm like, dude, nobody deserves to get like shit on. Like they're gonna read it and they know it affects them. Like absolutely know it affects them. Like
everybody's human. Like it's weird to think that everybody's human. Everybody puts their pants on the same way, like every day.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I don't think humans deserve a lot of things like negatively. Like I just, I could go farther deep into that. Like the shit that people get for like mistakes they make are like, it is insurmountably, like it is too much. Honestly, like people, I don't know, like just like nobody thinks that it's going to happen to them, and then it does, and then it's hard to take pity on those people because you're like, you were just destroying this one person. So it's like, if you can't have empathy, it's like you're like we're all going to fucking get shit on over time, and we're all going to be miserable and depressed, which is like already happening. So like, it just sucks.
Yeah. A perfect example. I mean, it was the bass player from Ghost Inside. I mean, I believe he made a racial slur, and then as soon as that caught wind, I mean, it was a cancel culture like effect. And dude, I just like let the guy apologize, and like he was sincere about it, but like he was out of the band immediately, and now they're trying to bring him back, and everything that they've went through as a band in general, with that crash, and losing some of the I think it was some of the touring members. The bus driver died. The drummer lost his leg. Like it was just such a tragedy, and then like that happens to him, it gets brought back up, and it's like.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, dude, like I've got obviously, I'm against racism and all that shit, but it's like
absolutely.
But it's like, dude, like when you start digging up stuff, and it's like, I don't think this person was racially charged, being like, fuck N-word. Like I don't think he's actually racist. You know what I mean? And I think that's like what the difference is like, yeah, it sucks, but to like fucking destroy this guy for saying a word that I'd like to think that he obviously didn't mean it, but
exactly.
It's
you like, you try to give people the benefit of the doubt before casting
absolutely
that out.
And it's like, and no, it's not really my place to be like, oh, dude, it's just the N-word, and I know that holds a lot of weight for a lot of people, and like, but I think with anything, like if somebody did something in the past, and if they're willing to rectify it, then by all means, give them that space to do so. I don't think they need to get kicked. I don't think there deserves to be like a punishment in the fact of like, you did this, so therefore you don't deserve this. And it's like, it's like the punishment is like, it's too imbalanced, like I see too many of it like happening where it's like somebody apologizes and they seem sincere, or like maybe it was like 5 years ago and the person's a different person and they're like getting called out for shit. And it's like, oh man, like y'all are still on this, like you're still mad about it. Like I know you're not, like, because if I dug up any of their tweets or like things that they did in the past, I'd be like, dude, y'all are assaulters, y'all are this, like, like take a chill pill and fucking relax.
I think the weird thing about that is when you think and you peel back the onion of like when somebody does do something, especially in like the public sector where people are able to make their own opinions and have the court of public opinion out there. I think really the real problem with it is there's no playbook on when, say, like a Michael Vick, since that's a big cataclysmic thing that happened in this area, whether it be 10 years ago or now. But this guy obviously did something that was terrible and reprehensible. But at what point do you say, okay, he has done the deed, he's rectified his image, he's rectified what he's done? And that's kind of the hard line to toe, because everybody is a different situation depending on their past and who they are as a person and how they are perceived. So it's hard to say, does one person for making a mistake, even though they have a track record of doing so many good things and never having that situation present themselves, is different to say a person like me or like you or like George or like somebody else. So it's where do we all come to an agreement where when somebody is in penance, where do we find that part in the rectification process where we're like, okay, he's done enough. That's where it's hard. It's just tough.
I agree, and I think that it's pretty profound when it's like, it's like, yeah, when is there like the, okay, he's done his time or whatever, and it's like, if I can even get into like, people don't deserve prison the way it is right now. So it's like, why are we creating these like mental prisons where it's like, you are punished, like you did a bad thing, you are a little boy, you were punished. Michael Vick, good example. What he did is terrible, and like the act itself is disgusting to me. My opinion. And no, I mean, but I truly think that if we want to go into like the root of things, everything, to get on with anybody's life and to be completely healthy, it does have to be forgiven. Like everything does. If I'm not there, it wasn't my situation, and I don't know Michael Vick, so I don't know what type of person he is. Obviously, what he did in my head is an indicator of what type of person he might be, and I might not agree with the things that he thinks is fine. Mm-hmm. So it's like a hard place for me to be like, fuck Michael Vick and he sucks. And it's like, and I just don't know. Like, and this is just one aspect of his life. Maybe he just making a mistake. He was younger. He doesn't quite care about animals. And I guess that everything that humans do are not rooted in evil, because there is no pure evil. And there's always a reason why people do things. Like, regardless if it's like, yes, like, sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
That's when you get back at me for my dog barking.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I don't think like everything is for a reason. So like, until we have like people actually getting like rehabilitated, like instead of getting shit on, like, oh, you did this, you suck, like you're a bad person. If anything, that's going to fuel people to be worse, to be like, well, I might as well fit this image, because there is, a psychological like endeavor to being like owning up to what you are, because then it's more likable. It's like, at least you're not like bullshitting.
And to circle it back, that's why social media is such a problem. And it's just, and like you said, it is a mental prison. It's a mental box that you put yourself in when you seclude yourself to opinions on certain things, and it's a shame. So don't let that shit get to you, bro, because you kicked ass on this new EP.
Oh no, I know, of course. I'm not even talking about me anymore. I'm just like,
just in general.
Like, no, the EP, this is like such minor stuff to be like hung up on, like, and I know better than to be like, okay, oh, you don't like my screams? Like, dude, I am 25. Like,
you're thriving. You're starting to rise records. Like, you're already coming out with like marketing plans. Like, the train's rolling. So if they're not there with you in the beginning, then you think you'll fuck themselves.
It's like, dude, I sorry. Like, it's a metalcore band. Like, okay, dude, you got my ass. Like, like you're the one listening to us. Like, go get chicky nuggies from mommy, dude. Like, relax. So it's like, I know, like, and like a lot of people always come at me like, oh, the lyrics are like very like hateful women. I'm like, dude, it is like, if anything, it is like satire, and it's like, I'm not an incel, and like if you're listening to it being like, this is dope, and like the vocals suck, I'm like, well, you're an incel, dude, so I don't know what you're talking about. You need help. So it's like, it's always funny. It's like, but again, regardless, all these people, I know it's all rooted in something else, and I don't take it personally, and it's just it's just funny. I would like to meet everybody that hates on my vocals in person.
Oh, dude, you get a good laugh. Trust me. You know what I mean?
Like, absolutely. Like, I mean, I've seen what they look
this
like.
Fucking person. Yeah, because usually 9 times out of 10, everything's anonymous. Nobody's using a real profile to like actually back up a claim or anything else like that. Doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. If somebody's taking the time to comment on a Bloodbather like video, that means they look a certain way, and I think I already have the upper hand. So I go, it's fine. like I know what you're about, dude. I get it, and you are out of your mind, so it's fine.
Like, yeah, and then to a brighter light, like what do you grab from to inspire to write your lyrics in itself? Like, do you take it from personal situations, or do you put it around a certain concept or topic to really thrive through the process in itself?
Okay, this is a good question, because again, this last EP, the lyrics were kind of already laid out by Jeff, which is our old vocalist.
Correct.
And I had to kind of like just change them enough where I was like, I like these slightly better. I didn't really like the lyrics, and I kind of had to work with that in a short time. So it's mainly Jeff's lyrics and a little bit of mine kind of mixed in, mostly his. So I had to like make it my own. But again, this album doesn't really necessarily like reflect like how my normal writing process would be. But what usually what I would do, like I had older bands that I was in, and and I would just at the time, I would have like I had a lot of issues, and I was straight edge, and like I was angry at nothing, and like really into hardcore. So like I would write things that were like very I would try to be scary, I guess. Like I would try to be out of my mind, like on purpose. I'm like, this is like really insane, and like nobody says this.
That's
and
awesome.
If you guys want, like anybody listening, my old band was A Needle Under the Nail, and it's like some crazy early 2000s, late 90s metalcore.
So like Jack Nicholson, like Red Rum. Like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of shit.
Not like crazy like that. But like
that's
I
crazy.
I don't even remember what I said. Like just to give like put a hole in your chest so the world can see right through you, or like I don't know what the fuck I was on. I was saying like it's like if you won't disappear on your own, then I'll make you. Like I was like and like and like the chant, like there's like this one video of like everyone's chanting this lyric, and I'm like, why the fuck are these people chanting this lyric? Like there's like, when you die I will be there, and then everyone's just like screaming it, and I'm like, yeah, it's so weird. It's like, that's so sus. And it's like, now I didn't get a chance to like really like flex the one-liners, and now I'm just kind of off that. Like I'm kind of like more into like what we were talking about just now, like psychological punishment, or like forgiveness, or even like meditation, like and there's still a way to be in like a metal band and like accomplish that. Like if you look at bands like Gorguts, and like they're like this crazy death metal like pioneers of like whatever new, they like made like this new death metal genre, and all their shit is like talking about like Tibetan monks and like weird alternative healing and like the dark arts, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like this is so sick, and like it has nothing to do with like killing anybody, or it's like for like the greater good. I'm like, what the fuck? And like all these like weird dissonant tones are coming out, and you're just like bombarded by this really like low end, and you're just like, this is like almost like this is like atmospheric almost, and it's like I'm trying to like go with that, and less so like, oh, I'm a bad man and I'm gonna hurt you. Like it's just I think it's played out, and I just don't think people that do feel like that are have unlocked that level of understanding as to why they feel like that. So
when you're tinkering with somebody else's lyrics, that's a very like odd situation to be in, like we said. But so when you're doing that, and you obviously have a vision and you have a sound, are you can kind of, obviously you're formatting your own idea of what the previous vocalist is trying to convey with his lyrics. Are you trying to steer it in a different direction, or are you just trying to put together what fits as like a puzzle for you to be inspired by it?
That second one more so.
Yeah,
I would
just trying to
definitely
fit it in.
That's tough, man. Yeah,
make it make sense.
Yeah,
like so I like am singing something that I at least kind of can feel to some degree. Like
I mean, but that's good. At least that's what drives you, instead of having something that's kind of flat and you're not just there to be there. Like you're not another instrument. You are at least trying to put the thought into that. Like that.
Right.
That's a huge hurdle to overcome. I can't imagine doing that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like if I wasn't feeling the lyrics to some degree, the vocal performance would suffer. And there are parts that I just don't care about, and you can tell on the record that the vocal performance does suffer. And I was like, and like it's funny how the vocals do change based on if you actually feel a part versus not.
For sure.
And there's a lot of parts I wasn't really feeling, and I was like, but then there was parts I was, and I was like, oh, this sounds really cool. I wish I could have done that the whole way through, but I don't know. I kind of like that there is specific parts that are like very like high, and then other like low parts that were like not, like, so it like creates a contrast, or like gives life to the parts that really deserved it. So yeah, it was rough. It was an interesting thing, but I'm hoping this next one is like actually like a pure record, like it's just untainted by anything else, and just trying to make it. I'm not trying to be like super sellouty. I just want to write something that feels good.
No, that's not being sellout at all, man. That's that's what it's all about. Like I'd rather hear that from somebody than say like, oh, this is just what came out, man. This is just what it was. Like at least you care enough to want to prop something up. Like you have the platform to do it. You might as well say something that's worth saying.
Yeah, of course. Like And I think like because like our fans or like people that listen to us are like younger, this is a good opportunity for me, like, or anybody to like, again, instead of being like weird incel murderers, like being like talking about things that are actually make sense or going to help them in the future, and like, and not on some like Christian rap or anything. Like it's just, but just like, you know, it's
don't
like
need anymore.
It's like, no, absolutely not. Just like, if anything, like, yeah, like asking like, instead of like I don't know, there's like not so, and not even like super like Suicide Silence, where's your God thing, but just more like, why do you still believe in these constructs that are laid in front of you, like so vehemently? And like, it's like, and again, I'm sounding corny again, like the whole question, everything, but it's like, yeah, like just, you know, it'd be cool if like we're like, okay, like I get it, like you're super this one way, but like, has that worked for you? Like, are you happy? Like, what's going on? Like,
yeah,
what's going on up there?
It's healthy, man.
Yeah, so it's like, but like, you know, obviously we still have that aggression, and like we're still pretty angry at things, and we're both working on a lot. Like, so it's like it'd be better to go through that with a lot of the younger kids, especially, so they can get a head start and like be better than us.
Oh, that's a great way of putting it, dude. Because honestly, like setting ourselves up for this like industry for the future of like what's to come, like that's awesome. I love hearing that shit. It's hard when the gatekeepers like start, you know, putting their foot down and they want to block something and like try to revolutionize a genre in itself. Like some people like with pop punk with my industry, like some bands that come out, they're just so good, but other people like this isn't pop punk. I'm like, dude, just please go sit down or write your same watered down like music that you have been for so long and you're 40 years old. So I just can't fucking wrap my head around that shit. I mean, and like coming back to Bloodbather, like you guys have, I mean, it's a super young band. Like I think established like roughly in 2016 for 4 years. So the accomplishments already are like so like serious to the point where, you know, now you guys have an opportunity to really work with a full team with Rise Records because they have such a great track record in general. And I don't hear anything bad about the record labels in this industry at all, but you know there are some labels I'm sure that would probably take control of creativity in a sense and market it away. I think one of my favorite, I said this a couple times on the podcast, Periphery is like one of my go-to. They're like, yeah, you know, that they reinvented the gent from a sugar and all that shit or whatever.
Yeah.
They wrote their first album, not their first album. They wrote an album for themselves the first time with P3, and it was like one of their best albums. And it seemed like maybe they were marketing their albums prior to what was expected. So it's just like, you know, however you feel about putting out music that you thoroughly enjoy, usually that's the best that works out in the long run.
I agree. Like, there's a lot that I wanted to say because you brought up like a bunch of points. But I'm trying to remember the first one. Though, so I was stuck on that one for a second. Oh, talking about gatekeepers. So, yes, I have like I understand why people do it, and I was once super up my own ass and doing it too, and being like, no, you can't fucking, this is not hardcore, like, blah, blah, it does not sound like Agnostic Front, blah, 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 like, this has breakdowns, that's not real hardcore punk. And so it's like, and then, you know, and like, not that I didn't like all the stuff on the other spectrum that I hated, I just hated when people were like, this is hardcore. I'm like, this is totally not hardcore and never will be. And, you know, like, what is it, like a band that used to, like, I was like, the hardcore scene in Florida is like really big. And like, you know, we had bands like Eco Strike and like Day by Day and like all these like really cool bands, and like we also have a crazy death metal scene like Morbid Angel and shit and Deicide, whatever. And then like you know, we're very like by our roots, like it's like, okay, this is hardcore, this is not hardcore, you know, like and obviously Bloodbather by that standard is not hardcore, like even a little bit. And so it's like, it was funny, and like I guess like I used to be on that wave, and until I joined Bloodbather, even though it was kind of like, you know, I was just messing with my friends, it kind of changed my perspective a lot. Like when I, you know, started playing shows with them, and I was like, and then I started like, I had this like attitude that I was like better than like these like weird scene deathcore kids, and I was like, what's up with y'all? But then again, like I was like, I just started realizing, I was like, these kids are kind of like normal, and I'm just being an asshole. Like I was just being a huge dick. Obviously, there is some genuine fucking bizarros, and like nothing you can do about that. But like, and then I still like started being like, well, there's still no reason for me to act like I'm better like than them. So I kind of like, you know, got off my shithead style, and I kind of just like, I kind of realized like I'm in this band now, and this completely humbled me out, and I'm glad it happened because I was such a fucking asshole for no reason. Like meeting people at first, like at first meeting people and just being like making fun of them to their face, like for what? Like what was I trying to accomplish? You know, like I was like, and like my current friends thought it was hilarious, but then I started realizing I was like, I'm just pushing these people away, like I'm like turning everybody off. And like, it's just like a shitty thing to do. And like, I don't think a lot of people in the hardcore scene that haven't really opened their mind to being, you know, anything other than straight hardcore, I don't think they've realized like how they come off, or like, you know, and of course they can always argue like they don't care, but like, I think this has only helped me out, like in like my own personal journey. So like, I would argue that gatekeepers have their own insecurities and problems, and I don't think it's like up to us to like really like care what they think for the most part. And like I think that kingdom's gonna fall soon based on like how like the meshing of the genres is happening already.
That's how you revolutionize the genres in itself. I mean, you have to come up with something new. Like Bloodbather is something new and fresh to the point where it's not, like you said earlier, like specifically hardcore itself. It has other roots from it. No matter what magazine or interview company or whatever is gonna identify it. You know, I've seen a couple articles where they put emo into it, probably because of the style of the visuals and stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's got like that Saw vibe, like a psychedelic vibe. But yeah, so it's like I don't know. I just can't. I just have to like let people have their opinions, but they get drowned out pretty quickly. I don't nobody really focuses on them too much, and but that gives us an opportunity to revolutionize the scene in itself. So that way there is room for growth. Like one of my favorite scenes. I wish you played that show, but this was before you were the vocalist for Bloodbather. Obviously, This Is Hardcore came through Philadelphia, and that has like a pretty, you know, very tight scene, and that place was huge. And there was, and you know, not all hardcore bands are straight edge either, and that's cool. Like I talked to James Peligi from Harm's Way back in a while back, and you know, that's how he inspires with his music. And that's great, but he knows, like he said, he's like, that's not for everybody. You can't hold everybody to that standard, but that's just how they go about their music.
Like, just unfortunately, it's like we're all, obviously this is what we love, and everything about music, it's obviously it takes something deeper inside of you. Everybody relates to it differently. So everybody does it. It's just, who are the people that are able to take a step back and reflect and say, yo, I could be kind of a dick just because I put this in a box, because in this box is what it means to me. Take it out of the box and it means something else to somebody completely different just because of how they relate to it. Unfortunately, like you say, you're 25, we're all in our 20s too. It's just the worst kind of people in this industry just never get out of that mindset. And they're the ones that ruin it for everybody. And for a while, it was the most prominent people in the industry had that kind of an attitude. And now, fortunately, we were talking about the negative side of social media. The positive side of social media is that you can get people that have these different experiences, and you can see the other perspective and be able to relate that way, even though it is completely different. So it's really fortunate that you're able to do that now, especially with this uptick. Because after this is all over, it's going to be an incredible time. And like I keep saying, it's going to be a renaissance for music, especially for these smaller bands, hopefully, to get like stake their claim. So maybe what I'm hoping for you guys, especially for you, since you're able to like reflect on how you used to be, definitely now take the opportunity and like say, yeah, I was a fucking asshole before, but learn from my mistakes and like, let's go on this ride together. Like that's the way it should be, man. That's how everybody's got to think, you know?
No, I agree. Obviously, I'm with you 100%, and I just don't think. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing, you know, too much of that. I still see a lot of negative things happening, and like people are still up on their high horse. And I just wish that it was as easy as being like, hey, knock it off, change, you know, hey, relax, or like, hey, you want to try some fucking acid? Like what, you know, there's like people like even debating like, yo, like if we just had a squirt gun and just it full of LSD and started spraying the cops, like things would be a lot different, you know? things we might not have to have genius. might have to have these conversations anymore. It might just be like, you get it?
Yeah.
You get it?
Understand?
Like,
Like,
you're fine chilling out. Can you stop with the fucking brutality?
Stop killing black people and beating your wife. Like, is it fine now? Like, did you confront your demons? I'm full on being like humanist, and like I think everyone deserves, forgiveness and shit. But like there are some cops that are constantly doing and perpetuating these terrible things and not really seeing what they're doing wrong. And that's where I become forgiving, because like, well, at least they don't know, or maybe they don't, or maybe they still have that power where it's like, I'm doing this, but I don't feel like I'm going to get in trouble for it. So therefore I'm going to continue. And it's like, that's where I get really sad versus, some young dude being stupid and killing somebody and then feeling bad for it. But again, that person's life was still off. It's not a victimless crime. And that's where it becomes kind of like gray for me. It's like, damn, like what in my quest, like what do I want for this person? Like obviously I want to forgive them and I want them to grow, and like just in current day, just don't be a cop. Like you just can't.
Right, exactly. If you can't handle that job, please, for the love of God, like don't join. Like, listen, I'm on your side 100%. I think the whole fact behind everything is that you can get like an extreme amount of adrenaline. So like these police officers who are brutally, killing innocent people, hurting innocent people, like they're out there. Let's not deny that. The fact is, they're kind of relatable to people who like abuse animals, because they have the fact of that adrenaline that just gets rushed through their body. I don't know what kind of sick,
it's brain damage, honestly.
Right, you know what I mean? Like that chemical just gets flowed into your brain, gets you that adrenaline, gets you that.
Like that's what makes you feel good.
Right, that's not healthy.
That's the fucked up part. It's like, I would like to relieve them of that. And again, I know that pure evil does not exist. Like that is some Bible shit, and like there's no pure evil entity causing anybody to do anything. It is because you have brain trauma, like something's fucked up, like your chemicals are all fucked up, and like or like you have trauma, like you just haven't acknowledged it. Like all these people, like these white fucking cops, have like this crazy like power dynamic in their head that it's like they think that they're being attacked. Like they don't they see themselves as the oppressors. They see themselves as like, we are only defending ourselves. And it's like, how can you be so like tunnel vision to the point where you can't see the damage that you are doing? It's like, how can you say that you're being attacked when you have the gun and you have the right, quote unquote, to kill somebody? Like,
exactly.
So it's like really fucking crazy, and like all these like, they just don't see what they're doing as like an evil, and it's like that's where it becomes pretty sad. And like, and I understand all the frustration out there, and like I'm completely on the side of the oppressed versus the oppressor, and I just but again, the fucking softy in me is still going to feel bad for all parties involved. And I just wish that all people that are hurting in the situation, even the fucking idiot cop, is somehow going to learn from this and quit, honestly.
Right, as they should. Yeah,
the system in place, they can't be a good cop. You just can't.
Like for example, we had two cops that murdered innocent 25, 26-year-old. I'm not going to get into detail, but they didn't have tasers, so they had like the only instruments that they really had, I guess, were batons and their firearms. I mean, he was chasing them down with a knife,
right?
But the problem was like he's also mentally unstable. He has on medication. They called specifically for police to have help. They knew, like the dispatcher knew he was medically disabled,
right?
So it's just a whole. But like, where the fuck? I mean, worst case, like, if your life is that endangered, which there have been a few out there, I've seen some videos, but like in that situation, like, dude, where is your taser? Like, how is that not an instrument?
Yeah, it's like somebody who's like clearly got called for mental help there's no justification to shoot them. Like, it's like, and that's why a lot of black people are like, I'm not gonna call the cops. Like,
I don't blame
this
them.
Is like, why would you? It's like okay, I have a domestic problem. Why would I call the cops? They're gonna shoot my friend. It's like. Or like if I'm asking them to help and they're gonna blow his brains out, and it's like, okay, like, and I just have to deal with that. Like, oh, sorry, and like obviously you're not gonna assault the cop because then you get life or you get shot. So it's like, until people start seeing things like objectively, like the police are just a gang, but they have legal right, and I think that's what a lot of like, let's just say it, Republicans like think that like like this is. because something is legal that it makes it right ethically.
Right. Exactly.
So, and it's like, like that's why Republicans drink. They can do this. They drink this. Like it's like, or like when weed is legal, maybe they might smoke, and it's not evil anymore. Like the evil has been outlawed, and it's like that's why like a lot of people are like, oh, these fucking druggy homeless people on the street are bad people, and it's like, no, dude, they just have a fucking problem.
Right. There's a lot of hypocrisy with it too. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just kind of wanted to bring this to your attention. So the whole Colin Rittenhouse thing where he crossed the state borders and he shot those people when he was 17, bro. Right. He's still being defended by that side because he was 100%. A patriot, and it's like, no, he broke the law. If you're for law and order, he's already carrying a weapon without a legal right to crossing state lines. Like, come on, man. Like,
it's like keep it consistent.
Jesus Christ! Like, is it that hard? Like, if he wants to go there and help clean up and be for the cause of like trying to rebuild the community, fine, whatever, that's fine. But his mom dropped him off in the AR-15. Like at 17 years old.
Exactly. It's like you were out looking for blood. Like I get it. Like just own it up. And like all the people like defending him, like it was self-defense. It's like, yeah, dude. Like I get it. I seen the video, and like, but dude, let's see what the first thing that happened was.
Correct.
Like name the first. Like let's go by process of elimination. And it's like he already fucked up twice before then. Right. And no, I don't necessarily think that he deserved to die either. I'm not so sure if he was but I don't think anybody he was, fighting against or he shouldn't even be there in the first place should have lost their lives either. And let's say that if he wasn't there, they probably wouldn't.
So is this going to be like an idea to probably inspire into your lyrics somewhere in the future, maybe?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think it's more like this is just like a starting point. It's more like because this is such an easily like identifiable problem that, I'm a big proponent of like, obviously I've pretty much made it clear with my Mushroom Kingdom back here that I think that, finally coming face to face with like your problems is a huge way to making society actually better. And like, I'm really thrilled that Oregon, like out, unbanned, like now all these substances are legal.
Right. Yeah. So basically, like they, if you are using any kind of drug or paraphernalia in itself, like you will not get arrested. I think we'll probably just have to go through some kind of rehabilitation or something.
Which is what everything should be.
I don't even think you have to go through that. I think that's why they did it, so they don't.
That's have great. Yeah, because now there's like psilocybin like healing that they're doing now. So like now there's like actually medical properties that they're like, okay, if you go to a doctor, they're gonna be like, yo, you have fucking brain trauma, dude. Like let's give you some mushrooms.
There's a lot of evidence towards psilocybin being a big component that could be used to treat like PTSD and
100%.
And everybody I've ever talked to that has done it, they've said that what I think the most profound thing across the board with everybody I've ever talked to that has had an experience with it, because I never have, is that they say that they're able to approach and come to terms with trauma that happened in their life that they were never able to approach before and just accept it. And
absolutely. That's like, it's amazing.
That's a wild thing to even think that that's possible. Like I know a couple of people that have had huge things that they directly correlate it to that.
Dude, it is almost immediate. It is healing. That's what I'm saying. It's like I have yet to, through these properties, like I have changed my life dramatically, and like I acknowledge my problems, and like I see people that are holding on to like all this grief, and I'm like, dude, just please try like psilocybin, like or like LSD or something, and like confront. It's way easier than wasting years like perpetuating the same like mistakes you're making and like getting angrier and angrier until you fucking start shooting people, and then it's like this is such a I just don't see why it's still outlawed, like, or why the powers that be deem it to be so like negative. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. It's like I think the best people you meet are the people that have been healed. Like it's like, okay, like, or if like even a friend comes up to you, he's like, hey, this is a problem that you have that you've never acknowledged before. Typically, you're gonna get mad because it's you're attacking your character in your head instead of being like, well, maybe I do this. What's my problem? Let me figure it out.
Yeah, it takes like constructive criticism, right?
Like let me, yeah, of course, and like even still, like by ourselves, like constructive criticism, you can only do so much,
That's true.
And it's like with psilocybin or LSD or like all these things like psychedelics, it's gonna like basically what is it? what's that thing? Oh, you're reallocating your stats basically. It's like it is mad stat reallocation. You're like, damn, I need like 32 more intelligence, but I gotta like get rid of 40 trauma. So I'm just gonna like confront and things that you just don't even remember. You're like, oh fuck, that really shaped my life. And it gives you a chance to like kind of go back and do things the correct way of how you would deal with it in a healthier manner, and then kind of just forgive yourself, and then you are a better person.
And what's even crazier about it is if you really like just break it down for what it is with specifically psilocybin and marijuana, two naturally occurring things in nature that could do that to you mentally, that are so outlawed, so barred against from us from even getting in possession of. And finally, like, at least it's changing. Like
slowly,
New Jersey just legalized recreational weed. 11 other states did it. So it's good that we're seeing this progressive change where finally we're at least acknowledging that these things aren't as bad as, like, I remember in the DARE program when I was a kid, had a cop come in, showed us like this board of all the drugs, and they were like, if you smoke marijuana,
it's over.
All the dudes are gonna grow tits, and all the girls are gonna grow mustaches. I remember them telling me that. Man.
It's crazy propaganda, dude. It's out of its mind.
And look where that program's at now. It doesn't exist.
It's out the fucking window. Imagine putting that program in Oregon, dude. Like, it's not gonna fucking happen.
Yo, Oregon's like the Wild West now. That place is like just barren wasteland. It's gonna be crazy.
I love it.
That's what I prefer.
Give people their fucking freedom. We're like we consider ourselves a free country, but we're not that free. Let's be honest.
Hey, they snuck that in there too. That just like we were talking about with a coworker of mine. He was saying like we got like the notification on our phone about like Oregon decriminalizes all hard drugs, and we're like, you know there's that guy in the courtroom sitting in the back that's like all decrepit, and he's like, they finally did it. He's
like they've been fucking waiting.
Just insane.
It's got to be a domino effect from here on out. I mean, even microdosing like mushrooms, like that's also been very helpful. I've seen a lot of documentaries, obviously on Netflix. Where else are you gonna find some sick documentaries about drugs other than Netflix at like 3:00 in the morning? But I mean, it works wonders depending on like the situation that you're diagnosed with. I don't know. There's just like so many natural ways to go about like recovering your body in itself.
Dude, 100%. Like, there's been cases of people like curing like actual just like diseases, like people bipolar disorder and shit like that, or multiple personality. And people just like, what is it? I mean, and you know what? Actually, I mean, yeah, the source was, I guess, kind of credible, but I only saw it on that site, so I can't even say 100%. But apparently, this lady took like an absurd amount of like LSD tabs, like stupid. And she had bipolar disorder, and I guess she like went to the hospital or whatever because she was fucking out of her mind. I'm sure for like hours, more days, and then I guess she like went to a coma, woke up, and then basically was like. But again, it only stops at her saying that she was cured, like she didn't have bipolar disorder anymore. But like, that's the thing. It's like it's not so far off from me that I can't believe it. Like that is a very real that's a reality that is very possible. It's like if you recognize that you have an issue, and like any mental illness, it's very possible you can face it and understand why it's happening, or at least better control it. But like I don't know. It's like it's something that this good is now like deemed like if you get caught here per se, like with like even like a tab or two of acid, you're gonna be like charged with like some grand fucking out of this world like mass distribution of drugs charge that like it's like dog like like one of the most harmless drugs actually, like you're not gonna die, like, and it's just it's still wild to me that like even like Oregon doing it, it's like nobody's really following suit yet. And like especially like, you know, who knows when Texas is gonna hop onto that, you know, and stuff like that. I figured California would have already, but it's pretty slow growing, honestly.
Yeah, one state at a time. And it's a shame too because like when these people do get arrested for drug paraphernalia or drugs in general, I mean, you're not really solving the problem. You're making it 10 times worse than it already was. The war on drugs is a joke, and you know
that's what I'm saying.
It'll never end so much money. And bro, even that like with like the judicial system, like with arresting people, like those are also businesses. They have to fill those cells. So I mean,
privatized and everything. So it's like
yeah.
But that's like where my gripes are with like the way things are. It's like that's what I'm saying. Nobody deserves the punishment that we are getting, that we are taught to believe that we deserve, and obviously the ways that the terrible things that we are doing can be fixed with things that we have means to get already. So it's a two-way street. Like, nobody deserves prison the way it is now. Absolutely not. It shouldn't be like this feral system of, and you're locked up with other people that aren't getting rehabilitated, because it's not a rehabilitation center. It's just a fucking crazy machine. And, you might get stabbed because you looked at somebody the wrong way, or blah, 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 or you're going to get raped in jail. And that's a terrible, like, come on, dude. Like, and this could all be fixed if, you start earlier and tell people that these weird ways of being are not natural. Like, this doesn't have to be an animalistic society where everyone's getting attacked for no reason, or you have to take things as crazy as they are. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like, and the people that are obviously trying to make those changes are deemed crazy. And it's like, the crazy ones don't realize that they are crazy. And it's a huge, like, paradox.
Yeah.
And, but anyways, yeah, we've gone on this topic. Obviously, you guys can ask me anything else. Like, we've gone about this. We probably, if we want to talk about the band, we can do that. I'm sorry.
It's a conversation. No, dude, it's gone so well. Like, dude, like, I mean, we can talk about, and it's basically just the flow of the conversation in itself too. Right. I mean, but in more band,
it's good. It's good to give a chance for your fans to see who you actually are, since you haven't had a chance probably to get the word out, like, where you stand on these kind of things. So that's nice.
True.
Yeah,
I guess you're right.
Don't beat yourself up. I mean, there was like one time I'm trying to think of like an episode that like really, really went like not as I planned, and like it was just like we were just talking about something else completely. Lauren for Sharptooth. She is like one of my go-to girls, dude. Like, she is a huge advocate for feminism and like the whole scenario of rights, of human rights and everything.
Absolutely. We toured with them.
We talked about the album the first time, and then we had to reschedule because like our computer was taking shit, kind of like how it wasn't back in the day when I was explaining to you. And then the next time I met up with her, it was like I was like, what do you want to talk about? What do you don't want to talk about? And she's like, I don't want to talk about the things I usually talk about. I want to talk about the album. I was like, okay. And then like I saw her like 3 days later, and it was like a complete change. I was like, oh shit, like I am not prepared for this. Like, she is way more intelligent than I am. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude, just go pop off.
No, yeah, she knows her shit. I like her a lot. She's cool. The rest of that band is really nice too. And they took us out with
Oh, you went out with Sharptooth?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was actually my second tour. I was still playing bass at the time, but no, we made friends with all of them. They were all really cool. Lauren was really nice. Like, and yeah, she knows her shit about what she knows about, and she obviously preaches on stage. So it's like, and like, yeah, we were all like, our band's pretty proactive in that stuff too. So we were like, yeah, like, we get where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. So like, no, like it's cool that we have bands like that.
Has it been difficult? I don't mean to cut you off, but has it been difficult to like tour with metalcore bands in itself? Because like you guys are more prolonged of like hardcore music in itself. Like, I remember Bloodbather touring with Of Mice and Men at one point. Like, is it a good idea to like cross breed those two genres in itself? Like, how does that work when you play live with those kind of shows?
So, I mean, because like we're metalcore enough, but we're obviously a little bit more gritty. Mm-hmm. So like younger kids aren't going to be able to tell the difference. They're going to definitely feel a vibe. But no, like most shows, like especially that Of Mice and Men run, people actually were going in for us. We're going crazy, and I was like, yeah, this is sick. And because we're off with For the Fallen Dreams, but they kind of went a little soft. I'm not gonna lie.
They came back. A little soft. I think they were just trying to market differently, or I think they had a new vocalist. Of course. I don't know. Sure, yeah.
No. They got Chad still.
Okay, good.
So, and like those guys, great guys too, and like, it changed my perspective on a lot of things when we got taken out by them. And Mice and Men turned out to be like the nicest people I've ever met in my life. So it was like strange. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, they are like too chill. And like there was like a lot of like drama on that tour, and the Of Mice and Men dudes like kind of like stood up for us because like we were getting shit on by like the tour manager, and they basically like called a meeting, like everybody on the tour, like the tour manager's staff, blah blah blah, and like all the bands, and we're like, this is fucking disgusting. Don't ever do this. Like basically,
that's awesome.
I was taken aback, and I'll obviously never forget that. And like I still follow them, and like I go on their live streams, and like we're all pretty cool still. So it's amazing. Yeah, but kids like obviously can tell there's a difference. Like we're more visceral, I think, and like these bands are been around a long enough time where they kind of mature into like going more melodic. Usually, that's usually just kind of how it is. And no, but we've had a great reaction each time. Like We did Attila. People liked us there.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That was funny. That was funny.
Nut.
Yeah, he's in that case. He's a nice guy. He's just out of his mind. And then,
that's the perfect epitome of someone who doesn't give a fuck what anybody thinks about him.
Yeah, no, I respect it, honestly.
Me too.
I have a lot of respect for him. But yeah, like I enjoy going on metalcore bands because I think some of the hardcore bands aren't ready for us, like mainly the gatekeeper ones. Like we definitely are in a weird niche, like between the two. And I think the cool guy bands don't necessarily want to give us that shot yet. And the metalcore guys are obviously not too cool for anything. So we're always down to like hang out with them and do our thing. And I've seen bands take that route too, like, that we're doing, and they've come out more successful than the gatekeepers. So I don't feel bad at all.
Yeah. Like, that's why I was scared a little bit when Knocked Loose started getting a little bigger. And I was like, oh, are they going to, like, ban them? Not ban them, but, like, are the gatekeepers, like, not going to be, like, on board with it because it is something completely new? But it seemed like they got a well-rounded, liking towards it. So,
no, yeah, they were gatekeeped for a while. So,
Jesus Christ.
They were not allowed to be cool for a long time. But then they've infiltrated. And now look at them. They're on top.
Bro, it's happening, like, in pop punk, too. Like, Knuckle Puck. There's this band coming out called they just signed with Hopeless Records. They're called Meet Me at the Altar. The vocalist and the guitar player, they're all females, and they're like an easy core kind of band, and they're already getting gatekeeped. And I'm like, this is fucking gold. Like, it's a diversified band, and it's a diversified band in a genre where it's filled with like white pedophiles. Like, can we please have some good
I was saying,
bands?
break the stereotype by now.
Like, I don't understand, but yeah, I mean, that's great that you guys actually get that opportunity. And I'm sure those shows were massive. Like, I can see you guys coming back when the world opens back up. I mean, with this is hardcore. That's also like a huge scene in itself too. Like, Philly's got a really good hardcore scene.
Yeah, when we played that, it was cool too. Like, a lot of kids were moshing and shit, and I was surprised because I was like, this is not gonna go well. Like, because we're like not necessarily the hardcore band that they're looking for. But kids were popping off. Definitely some weirdos, but like, thank God, because if it's not for them, then it would have been nobody. So like, yeah, a lot of like kids that just don't give a fuck were like into us, and it was sick. And like, Joe's super cool. I think he did a podcast with Salem like not too long ago. So yeah, I would love to play that fest again.
Bloodbather needs to come out with a Running Man meme or something along the lines of that. Something similar.
God, even though I'm so against it, if that's what it takes, like, whatever.
I asked James. He says he doesn't give a shit as long as people don't. As long as people like enjoy the music. And then there's a lot of comments that said, as I was going back on it, they said this is how they found out with the band, so that's cool. But
yeah, it's like whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever somebody overdubs with something. I mean, it's a big guy moshing on stage with tattoos. And
no, I get it. Yeah, it makes sense. That's what I'm saying. It's like that's how people like found out about Lorna Shore or something with like the cat meme or whatever. God. And people are like, and it's like, dude, what? It's like, all right, if that's what it takes, like, does somebody have to make a weird sus meme about like my band that like, it's like, oh God, then like, and then it's like, do I become the meme band now? And it's like, does that stay with us, or is it just like hopefully something that happens and it's like it fades? Like, we got our fans from that, and then it just disappears. But
I'm sure it'll definitely fade too. But at the same time, like, I think they could have capitalized on it with like merch and stuff. Like, I don't know. Like,
100%, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
by the way, also, like, I want to get your opinion on this. Like, how fucking cool is it that Tom from Lorna Shore is now in Chelsea Grin? Like, tell me that's a fucking like. That's like a dream team. I don't know. I think it just enhanced that band so much.
So, I mean, with these types of bands, like, I don't really like keep up. Like, I keep up. Like, I'm definitely like, I know what's going on. But like, when that happened, I was just kind of like, all right, I think Alex definitely ran his course with that band, because I think his vocals sounded not as anywhere near as good as they used to.
Yeah, they were like starting to fry out, it seemed.
It sounded like he needed to stop screaming. Like, I thought he had like vocal damage or something. And I liked older Lorna Shore, like way back in the day, like the first two releases, which there was like this EP that they released back in the day.
Yeah.
It's like straight up just cool. And then they released another EP, which was Bone Kingdom or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that was Grimoire.
And after that was like Maleficium or whatever. When they started becoming like black metal-y, I was like, it's not my thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when people started liking them. So it's like, I don't know, with like deathcore now, I'm not sure I'm like a fan of it. I really like the older like MySpace crazy like white belt grind deathcore.
Chop for
like,
Brie, fucking
all that like weird like little psycho core like Psyopus or something.
Oh my god, that's the name
like,
of it for fucking
all the Canadian crazy like fake grind bands. Like that's where I like my deathcore to be. But when it's like, newer stuff, that's like I don't even know who like besides Chelsea Grin, there's like I don't even like Whitechapel, like stuff like that. Like I think they're sick, don't get me wrong, but it's like it's just like not something like, damn, I feel like listening to like Whitechapel today. Or like I feel like listening to like I'm in a car ride, let me listen to like new Chelsea Grin. And it's like, again, it's because I'm 25 and I'm probably like their same age, and like I like what I like growing up with, and I didn't grow up with them.
You're not obligated to like anything you don't like. That's why when people say like, oh, I won't listen to that band, I'm like, that's fine, you don't have to listen to the band, but shut the fuck up. Like, you don't have to.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah. Like I got nothing but respect. I think those bands are like cool for doing what they do, and as I've come to know, like even though I may have thought they were corny in the past, every time I meet them, I am always blown away. Like I'm always the idiot.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, they're actually sick. Like they actually know what they're doing. Like, oh, I'm an idiot. I'm stupid. Like I know if we toured Chelsea Grin, I'd probably be like, okay, yes, okay, guys,
exactly. Like how can you not?
Fine.
Say no? Yeah.
Like fine, they're sick. I won't even lie. Like you got my ass. Like, but yeah, no, I'm excited for when the world opens up. I would like to tour with as many cool bands as possible and make new friends. And that's about it on that.
Yeah, and you know what? And before we like sign off, because I appreciate you like taking the time and really like putting yourself out there and really having a deep conversation with everything and anything that you're doing with Bloodbather. How are you and Salem doing with the writing process through this? Because I'm sure you're itching to really, really grasp that new album and put everything that you have into it vocally.
So yeah, the new album's coming. It's hard because, yeah, like I think we like said this way earlier, but it might not have been made it through. But it's just confusing because there's so much I want to do, and I don't know if the way I'm writing it is going to come off, how I want it to come off to people listening. So. That's always the issue. It's like, damn, like, do I need to like dumb it down? Like, it's like, is this like more commercial, or like, am I even gonna like it more commercially, or is it like, is that selling out? Which I don't really believe in that term. It's like, what is like, I'm trying to be like so unlazy about it, or like write things I actually think sound sick that I would like want to hear. But I like so many things that like, and so many genres that it's like, damn, I want to fuse all these things, but like, can I do this tastefully, or like will I need help? And that's where probably Salem is going to come in and help me, because he's going to have to write or play these songs live, and we are very different styled in guitar. So like when I'm showing him things, he's like, why the fuck did you write this? Because like then he has to like I'll have to keep on like showing him like this is how, and he's like, fuck. He's like dude, I'm not that good at guitar. he's like I get lucky. I'm like, that's why like, all our other stuff is just like chugs, and it's like fun, like whatever. But like, I want to experiment more, and I'm definitely itching to get like whatever release out. Like I just want to release like even like 2 songs or something, just like put it out, be like, here, like this is what we're going for next.
This is a
fuck
treat.
You, like
yeah,
yeah,
it's a really nice treat.
Like,
yeah,
which is what I want to do, and then maybe put those songs later on an album, like remixed, remastered, something. But yeah, like. I'm hoping to do that within, like, obviously next year.
Yeah, for sure.
Early next year, hopefully. If like, 2 songs at least. If I can just nail 2 songs out, I'd like to put those out and just wrap it up in a bow and be like, here's like what we're working on. This is it. Obviously, times are tough. Like, we didn't want to waste your time. Like, there's so much time that can go into like writing a full length, and we might fade into like no existence by then. So
Hopefully not. No,
in COVID time, you know.
In COVID time, yeah, you just gotta keep fresh. But you're on a great label with a great marketing team, and like everything's just going your ways right now. So I mean, like honestly, I don't want to spit some labels, and I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna spit this label and I'm gonna edit it out because I'm not gonna talk about it. Sumerian Records controls your fucking music so hard, dude. Like it's not really like said, but dude, you have to like. That's why I mentioned Periphery, but I won't mention Sumerian. Sumerian like basically markets you to success, but like you have a very strict control of what you want to do. Like when Veil of Maya lost their vocalist for someone who can clean sing and scream, like it's just completely,
it was over.
Yeah.
It was over. No, I get it. No, yeah, my friend's band did like that battle for the band Sumerian thing, whatever. And it was Road to whatever, and like they won and they got the contract or whatever, and it was basically like, yeah, you can write whatever, but we're gonna review it. And we're basically gonna be like,
hell no,
you're gonna do this. Yeah, hell no, and do this. Like,
so
and so they didn't take it. They were like, well, no, like we don't want to write that, and so they didn't get the deal, and that was it. But so it's like it's a hit or miss. Like I wouldn't have, shit on them for taking it. I would have been like, yeah, dude, make your money, whatever. At least like kind of like the music or something. But they really stick to their guns and was like, no, fuck that. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, now they're nothing, and so it's like, would that have been better? Who knows? Like,
who knows? You could have been stuck in a contract.
Who knows? Like that's what I'm saying. It's like that's what.
Where you quit mid tour.
Game of life.
That's you never know. Just gotta fucking throw a dart at a dartboard and hopefully it sticks.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
yeah, but I'm glad you guys are staying safe, and dude, and we're gonna get off this recording, but I really appreciate you coming by. Bloodbather's fucking killing it with their new EP. They just came out in October, and dude, like. We're looking forward to seeing more content and more music from you dudes. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's fucking rad. So.
Thanks for coming on, man. Nice talking to you.
Hey, no, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate talking to you.